Welcome to Keiser Voices, the story of success, brought to you by Keiser University Graduate School, here where the academic world meets personal triumph. Join us today as we dive into the captivating tales of success.
Everyone, my name is Dr. Shereka Browne. I am the program coordinator for the Master of Organizational Leadership program here at Keiser University's Graduate School. I have a bachelor's degree in public communication with a minor in sociology. I have a master's degree in organizational leadership with a graduate certificate in integrated marketing communication. And I have a DBA, which is a Doctor of Business Administration in organizational leadership. It's a pleasure speaking with you all today. So today's topic is transformative leadership, the African American influence. Right? All right. African Americans have made a significant contribution to policy in America and their way of leading because of what they had to go through. They're very much collaborative leaders because they have to get a team, in most cases, to influence policies that have been influenced. So we're going to start with 3 questions today I'm going to respond to. The first one states, how have African American leaders historically disrupted traditional leadership models across various fields? So African American leaders, they have historically disrupted traditional leadership models across various fields. I remember one of the first forms of leadership that I learned about, and I was just so flabbergasted by, is the great man leadership theory, which basically, I'm just rounding this up based on the history of it. It basically states that for you to be a leader, you had to be a Caucasian man overall. Okay, other distinctions are there as well. So with that being said, that means that leadership was not looked at for women, but definitely not for Blacks as well. So as stated before, African American leaders, they have historically disrupted the traditional leadership models across various fields. One of the ways is by challenging existing power structures that were not even looking at African Americans as leaders. And they advocate for social change. And they have, because of this, they have developed pioneering new approaches to leadership that has had to be changed and restructured to add them in. Okay, I'm going to use examples of old Black leaders because civil rights was such a significant part of Black American history and the laws and regulations that we have today. So in the realm of civil rights and activism, everybody knows leaders such as Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and Malcolm X. These people challenged racial segregation and discrimination, and they did this through protests, grassroots organizing, and also very much impassioned advocacy. Okay, these leaders, in the sense of collaborative leadership, they mobilized mass groups. They galvanized public support for the civil rights movement, which is one of the reasons we're going to talk about this later in another question, why collaborative leadership is a big part of African American focus and their form of leadership. And these civil rights movements, they led to the legislative achievement like the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Act of 1965. Okay. You have leaders in politics. Shirley Chisholm. She was the first Black woman elected to Congress. Everybody knows about President Barack Obama, who was the first Black president of the United States, and he shattered the racial barriers, expanded opportunities for marginalized communities. Now, these people, their groundbreaking achievement, it not only challenged traditional notions of leadership, but it paved the way for greater diversity and representation in government. This also affected at the time the future generation to see that we as Blacks can actually be leaders in this area. So we look at them and we say, okay, this is something that we can do, which was not something that was looked at before. I remember hearing many years ago, oh, there would never be a Black president, etc. And there has been one. And there are Blacks, not only Black men, but women that are very influential in American leadership in policies. You also have leaders in the area of business and entrepreneurship. You have trailblazers like Madam C.J. Walker. She was the first Black female self-made millionaire in the United States. You have Reginald F. Lewis. He was the first Black American to build a $1 billion company. Okay, so just imagine that. These people disrupted the traditional models of leadership, as I stated before, what the first form of leadership was. Okay. You have examples in arts and culture. Everyone knows about Maya Angelou. You have Toni Morrison. We know about W.E.B. Du Bois. You have James Baldwin. They challenged societal norms and they reshaped intellectual discourse through their groundbreaking writing, or whether through activism, scholarship. These people changed the way that leadership was looked at for Black Americans. Okay, and they actually did this by not removing the Black voice. They used the Black experiences and voices and their perspective in their work. So overall, African American leaders have disrupted traditional models across various fields and also the status quo, the norm of what it is. And they do this and continue to do this by breaking down barriers, by advocating for social justice and equality. And through this courage from these leaders, right, they have not only advanced the interests of the Black communities, but they also contributed to a broader struggle that we have for societal progress and also for human rights. All right. We have a question here. Analyze the specific impact of African American women in evolving leadership dynamics with their industries. Okay, so this is a question that I really was intrigued by, right? So African American women have significantly contributed to the evolving leadership dynamics within all industries. They break barriers, they're paving way for greater diversity and also inclusivity. All right, their leadership, it's multifaceted, and it's multifaceted across many various sectors. That includes politics, business, academia, arts, you name it. Okay. For example, in politics, you have African American women, and I stated her before, Shirley Chisholm. She was the first Black woman elected to Congress. I stated this in the first response to the first question, but I have to use her again because she is quite influential. And of course, you have Vice President Kamala Harris, first African American and South Asian American woman to serve as Vice President of the United States office. Okay? I would say she has challenged, or they have challenged, the notions of leadership, and they expanded opportunities for other women of color in the government, even if just by the fact that we see them and we know that, okay, this can be achieved. So their leadership, it has not only brought diverse perspectives and experience to policymaking, but it has also inspired the future generation of women to pursue careers in public service that we never thought was possible before. Also look at women like Condoleezza Rice, first African-American woman. She served as the U.S. Secretary of State. This made significant history. Whether you like these people or not, they are who they are, and they were in these positions. She made history and significantly impacted the field of foreign policy and international relations. Okay? Her leadership, I remember this, it brought a form of fresh perspective to diplomatic efforts. It emphasized, for example, multilateral engagement and diplomacy as a means to address global challenges. Her tenure, it also highlighted the importance of diversity in leadership roles within the traditionally male-dominated field that she was in at the time for foreign affairs, okay, and inspiring future generations with that form of leadership. Also, we know First Lady Michelle Obama. She was the first African-American First Lady of the United States, and she transformed that role, okay, and made a lasting impact on areas such as education, health, and women's empowerment. Now, through her initiatives, for example, she had Let's Move and Let Girls Learn. She used her platform to advocate for healthier lifestyles and increase the access to education for girls all around the world, not just even in the United States, not just in the Black community. Her leadership, it redefined the expectations and possibilities for women in the public sphere. Okay. Her leadership emphasized the importance of using one's platform for positive social change and empowerment, which is what most Black leaders try to do, because we need change in the society that we're in. Okay. In academia and arts, you have American women who are scholars and writers like Bell Hooks, Toni Morrison. They use their platforms to challenge the dominant narratives, okay, and also to elevate the voices and experience of the marginalized communities. Through their scholarship and their creativity and their leadership, they then expanded opportunities for African-American entertainment industry and areas in social change. Okay. Overall, these women, they play a major transformative role in evolving leadership dynamics within their industries. They had groundbreaking barriers, they challenged the stereotypes, and with all that they did, it advocated for greater inclusivity and representation. So the next question we're going to look at, and the final question, is now for the future of leadership for African Americans. Looking ahead, what are the emerging trends in leadership styles influenced by African American leaders, and how might these trends redefine future leadership paradigms? Now, leadership paradigms have already changed over the years, and they are significantly changing in the realm of how it is looked at in the case of diversity and inclusion. So looking ahead, there are several emerging trends in leadership styles influenced by African American leaders. And these are poised to redefine leadership paradigms for the future. And the three that I'm going to speak about, they emphasize creating environmental voices that are valued, heard, regardless of one's background or identity. Okay? It looks more towards inclusive collaborative leadership and social conscious leadership. And this is because of the environment that African Americans find themselves in. These forms of leadership are actually a necessity out of the issues that African American leaders go through. So the first one is inclusive leadership. Second one is socially conscious leadership. And the third one is collaborative leadership. Okay? Those are the emerging trends in leadership styles for the future for African Americans. Inclusive leadership, African American leaders, they have long championed inclusivity and diversity in leadership roles because they've had to. That's the only way that they have been able to get involved in leadership. And this trend is expected to continue. Inclusive leadership, it emphasizes creating environments where all voices are valued and heard, regardless of your background or your identity. Okay? Now, a socially conscious leader, African American leaders, they have historically been at the forefront of social justice movements and advocacy for marginalized communities. And they have not had a choice in this. This is the area that they fall into because of the history of the United States. So socially conscious leadership, it involves a commitment to addressing social and environmental issues, which is what most African American leaders have to do. These are the issues that you have to address. So you become a socially conscious leader because of the area that you're looking at. They try to promote equity and inclusion and making a positive impact on society. And the third area of leadership I would suggest, or I would state that they would be focused on in the future is collaborative leadership. And that is because even from the civil rights era, African Americans have had to immobilize groups and masses to work together. So this form of leadership will continue in the future in way African American leaders move. We are known to gather and make leaderships together. So they often emphasize collaboration, teamwork, and collective problem, because this is how we've gotten solution and social change from history, from the beginning. So overall, the emerging trends in leadership styles that are influenced by African Americans, they reflect a broader shift towards being more inclusive, authentic, socially conscious, and collaborative. That's it. I enjoyed having this podcast today and enjoyed speaking about this topic. Take care.
Thank you for journeying with us today on Keiser Voices, the story of success. As we close this chapter, remember every story has its next page.